I was a single father at the time. My wife was a narcissistic madwoman who wasn't capable of taking care of herself, so our divorce was more or less a blessing to me. When we separated, I was granted custody of our young son, who was my entire world. During our marriage, my wife had complained that I spent too much time doting on him rather than her. Having that woman out of the house and away from my boy was just what we needed, but it also had some drawbacks. I was working all the time, so often that I would hire a babysitter or call my parents to see if they could watch my son. My parents were my first choice, but every now and then I had to settle for Marcy, the only babysitter available on short notice. I never particularly liked Marcy. She was always a bit irresponsible. Marcy would often spend most of the time playing on her phone, rather than paying attention to my boy. And every time she saw me pull into the driveway, she grabbed her things and left through the back door. She was a twit, but she was all that was available. One night, I came home and called her name, but there was no answer. I assumed that she must have left through the back door again. I walked into the living room and saw that at the top of the stairs was my son, still in his pajamas. "Hey, sport," I called to him, before noticing the odd look on his face. "Something wrong, son?" "I had a nightmare, Daddy," he told me before running down the stairs to hug me. "It was so scary." "What happened?" I asked. He hugged me tighter. "I was walking down the hall when I heard the sound of Marcy humming downstairs. I hid in the dark, at the top of the stairs, where she couldn't see me, and I spied on her doing her homework in the kitchen. After a few minutes, the pantry door opened behind her. She was listening to her little music thingy, so she didn't hear it. Out of the pantry there was this scary monster man with tiny little black eyes." He shivered. "Go on, son," I cajoled. "Well, the monster man watched her for a long time, and then he waved his hand at the closet in the living room. It opened, and another monster man came out of that door. She was focused on her homework and her music, and it was dark, so she didn't see him either. The two monster men watched her for a while before the second monster man waved at the window. The curtain was pushed away, and there was another monster man behind it. Marcy didn't see him either, so then the third and the second monster men waved at the basement door, and two more monster men came out. I was so scared, Daddy, but I tried to be quiet, and none of them saw me. They all watched Marcy for a few minutes before the one right behind her started growling. She didn't hear it. It growled louder. She made a face and blinked. I was praying that she wouldn't turn around, Daddy, but she did. She screamed and cried, and all the scary monster men ran up and started attacking her. They ripped her into tiny little pieces and ate them all. And when they were done, they licked up all the blood on the floor. Then they all nodded at each other and went back to where they were before, in the pantry, in the closet, behind the curtain, in the basement, and I just hid at the top of the stairs. I was so scared, Daddy." I pulled the boy closer as he softly began to cry. I gave him a soft kiss on the head as I tried my best to comfort him. "Then what happened, son?" I tried to leave and get the neighbors. I thought that if I ran fast enough, they wouldn't catch me. I ran as fast as I could, but they all jumped out at me, Daddy. They were so scary. They grabbed me and were about to eat me when—" He stuttered as he attempted to weep out the rest of the story. "You can tell me anything, son. What happened?" I stroked his hair as he began to compose himself. I told them that if they let me go, I would help them, so they could get you too, Daddy, and spare me." All was silent for a moment. Then I heard a series of doors opening all around the house. My son buried his face in my chest. "I'm sorry, Daddy,"